theory.
That's it.
Possibly coming up.
Yeah.
All right. So we've done Clemson, Pitt, Miami.
Yeah.
Talk to me about SMU.
They're going to take a step back this year. And that's okay.
I agree.
I think, just mathematically, they didn't lose a single game on their ACC slate last year until they lost to Clemson barely. And they were right there to actually win the ACC. They were very quietly led by having a deeper quarterback room than most teams in the country, making that switch early on out of, the Preston Stone situation into Kevin Jennings. They had experienced quality receivers in a running back room and legitimately excellent, front seven players, all of whom are now gone. And so I think Rhett Lashlee is good. He wins games. He is an unbelievable fit for the Mustangs. I just think year to year in dealing with the power conference and trying to restock, and they're obviously always going to be a pretty heavy portal team, which they should be given their location. And I think they've got quality guys there. I just think year over year, even with quality guys, even with continuity in the coaching staff, I just think they're going to be merely pretty good and not able to navigate as shrewdly as they were last year.
I've got them finishing outside the top 15.
Of the ACC or the country?
Well, there's only 17 teams in the ACC.
I just am clarifying here.
We'll talk about Wake. We'll talk about Stanford a little bit later. No,
yeah.
They're not going to. They're going to finish sixth in the conference.
They also have like a very quietly challenging non-conference schedule, playing Baylor and the Skillet game.
They do. So like I'm really mixed on SMU because I was all in on SMU last year. I think I said I had them.
You nailed it.
Potentially going 12-0. So I like this team. That was before they made the switch to Kevin Jennings, who was a total revelation last year. Clearly gives them a dynamic that they did not have with Preston Stone. He's now backed up, by the way, by Tyler Van Dyke. TVD still playing. TVD might not see the field beyond mop-up duty.
No.
My flaw finder, if I could go to Lamas for a second.
I kind of have a problem with your hair. It's bothering me.
And I said this on the last episode, but you lose Brashard Smith, and that's a big deal. They did add some pieces, Chris Johnson from Miami, TJ Harden from UCLA.
Yeah.
I'm not sure either guy is going to be able to replace the production, or the combination of guys can replace the production of Brashard Smith. They just used him so many different ways, including out of the backfield in the passing game where he caught 39 balls. Definitely something both Johnson and Harden can do. And I think that was probably the appeal of bringing them into this offense. I do trust Rhett Lashlee. I like him. I think he's going to put a good offense together. It's just hard for me to believe that there's not going to be a step back here. So I'm with you on that front. And I'm also with you on the defensive side. I think we've got to see a step back there. Just given the losses in the front seven, I'm not convinced their haul of transfers is going to be able to backfill to the point where it meets last year's production.
Well, you just need to nail portal class.
You got to hit
all
of them.
Class after portal. Like, it's just, yeah.
And bear in mind, this is a top 25 defense last year. It was one of the better tackling teams in all of college football. Other than some of the issues they had in the red zone, it wasn't a unit that did a whole lot wrong. I just think now the combination with what they lose up front, with a tougher schedule for sure, SMU's got to take a step back. They have to. I think what we will see from this team is that they end up playing in more shootouts this year. So they're going to be a fun watch.
Right.
Some close games last year, not a lot of shootouts. I think this year we're going to see more shootouts. 8-4 for me with SMU.
I have, what did I write down? I wrote down 8-4 for SMU as well. And it's, they have like the interesting travel wrinkle being basically so far away from everybody. At least Stanford has Cal nearby, and vice versa. SMU has a close road game against TCU in the Skillet. And then it's across the country to Clemson, across the country to Wake Forest. Maybe they just stay out there. Those are back-to-back weeks. So there's that weird, interesting travel wrinkle. They come home to play Miami, then go to Boston to play BC, come home for a bye week, and then it's Louisville at home, and they go to the West Coast to play Cal. Again, they navigated it just fine last season. But I just think they were older and wiser and better equipped, at least to me in mid-July. So I have them as merely good, but just, a couple of tougher losses that, ended up being wins last year. I think Louisville was pretty close. I know Duke went to 44 overtimes, which, by the way, good for Duke, good for SMU. Those are two quality teams from last season. But I think those 50-50 games might be a little bit different given the lack of dependability here.
And by the way, I'll offer a bit of a disclaimer.
Please.
If Kevin Jennings takes a big step forward, if they're able to lean on him a little bit more, if he's able to give them, even more production, all bets could be off here. Because it's still a good team. There's still a lot of talent. I'm just, defensively, I think, is where it gets me the most. Brashard Smith, what they lose up front on defense, that's, to me, I think, the sticking point.
Look,
So
last year
under.
they basically played Clemson to a draw in year one. They could not have been more impressive in year
34-31. Yeah. And they came back in that game. It was a really impressive showing.
It looked like it was going to get ugly early with the turnovers and acquitted themselves super impressively.
And for as much as I think it's easy to look at what they did in the playoff against Penn State, 38-10, they lose on the road in State College. That game was a disaster for all involved. It was so cold.
It was negative 71 degrees.
It was ridiculous. So Penn State was a better team. Don't get me wrong. I'm just not willing to look at that and say, they're not even on the same level as a team like a Penn. I think if circumstances were different, that game would have been closer. They still would have lost.
Yeah,
but that game would have been closer.